a very special trailer. This is probably one of the best trailers I've ever seen, and definitely the best comic book trailer I've ever seen. And if I were Marvel, I would genuinely be very worried. I think this is finally where Marvel and DC have diverged. You know, we've talked a lot about DC trying to play catch up with Marvel, copying a lot of their moves, but this is where I think DC comes into its own. This and Suicide Squad. Let's not forget the amazing Suicide Squad trailer, but this one's also incredibly special, and that means that Warner Brothers has not one special comic book movie, but two. And that is an embarrassment of riches. And the reason I think that Marvel should be worried, not only because of how strong these trailers are, but because they introduce really strong hand-to-hand combat into comic book movies, which we really have not seen. When you think about it, Marvel has great action set pieces, but they're usually, trying to avoid something or carrying off a mission, or everybody is a team fighting like another entity, be it a singular entity or like a bunch of aliens. But we haven't seen like just this like hardcore like MMA fighting, and it is just amazing to behold. And I think that Marvel, if I were Kevin Feige after seeing this, and I'm sure he's watching, I would be like, oh, who are my big fighters? Because just I'm still even a little speechless, even though I've had time to digest this trailer. It's just that good. It's we're talking a lot about game changers. Deadpool, of course, is coming out tonight. And you have a situation where the franchise the edge of the envelope is being pushed. And that is very exciting. That is very, very exciting. And it's moves like these that are going to keep this genre alive and have it not run its course, as some people had predicted, like Steven Spielberg. I'd like to see if Steven Spielberg still feels that way after watching this trailer. Also, one other thing I want to say before we get started in this shot-by-shot analysis, so much to discuss, is that I wonder if Ben Affleck is ready for the level of fandom he's going to achieve when this movie drops. He's popular now. He has a lot of fan, goodwill because of Argo and because of his directorial efforts. A lot of people feel very nicely about him. But this is going to be a different level of stardom. This is going to catapult him into superstardom status. And I wonder if he's prepared for what it's going to be like to not be able to go anywhere without everybody saying, just in awe, it's Batman. I think he's that good. And also, I can see, where's the Batman movie? I wish they were shooting it right now, because that movie, $1 billion club for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if this movie is able to get into the $2 billion club, considering how good it is. And also I can't attest for how good the script will be. Obviously, this is an action trailer, which is Zack Snyder's specialty. So it's good to see that he delivered. But if it's just this action, if that's all that it is, but they have a number of great action set pieces, that'll be fine with me. And I'm sure I will see it multiple times. I think this movie is going to have amazing rewatchability factor in the theater, in IMAX, in 3D. I know that after seeing this trailer, I'm sold on seeing it multiple times in the theater. I saw The Dark Knight 3 times in the theater, and I can say I would at least see this that many times. It looks that amazing. I could just go watch it every day. Just like, what am I going to do today after work? Watch Batman v Superman. It's that amazing. All right, I don't think I would ever get tired of it. All right, so I think this is as good as the animated series, and a lot of people are saying as good as the video games. And that's an amazing thing to say. And after, the New 52 has actually ended up being a real misstep for DC. They're thinking of rebooting yet again because they've lost a lot of readers. And so I think that it might actually help this movie, that everyone who is just like dying of thirst for DC characters will just rush and just slurp up and gulp down this movie as fast as they can, because it's who we love and who we've been missing, and they're back and they're in their best top form. I can't say enough good things about this. It's phenomenal. All right, let's get started. Excuse me if sometimes I have trouble finding what I want to say. Again, I'm still pretty speechless from this trailer. All right. Thank you for starting with Batman. Thank you very much. There's the Batwing, right? Batman reclaiming the movie with this trailer. I hope they're equal. Now this, by the way, sorry Jeremy Irons, but you have very delicate female lady hands. I thought that was Amy Adams maybe for a moment. I was like, who's this? What's happening? And then I was like, oh, sorry Jeremy Irons. I love his Alfred. Love his Alfred. Now he's controlling the bat plane here. Now here he is. I wonder, by the way, if Alfred ever just takes, this is such, we have sassy Superman, but I think, we have the Bickersons when it comes to Alfred and Bruce Wayne. They're like an old married couple. And I wonder if he ever, just takes control of the plane and he's like, dinner's getting cold. You're coming back to the Wayne Manor right now. And Bruce Wayne's just like, oh, Alfred, you're so annoying. But I am kind of hungry. I love it. So this is great. A lot of people are saying this is right out of the Batman Arkham video games, which is, the Batman Arkham video games cinematics are amazing, and I think it would be foolish not to borrow from them, and I'm glad that they didn't make that foolish mistake. But what a setup. This Alfred boy, I like that he's like very hands-on, very involved in what Batman does, because he needs the support, and we're not really, maybe there will be an Oracle, maybe there will be a Nightwing, maybe there will be a Batgirl. We're not quite sure who's going to show up, but it's clear that basically it's a two-man operation. And that's, considering what they're doing, that's impressive. But this looks just absolutely spectacular. This is a great role for Jeremy Irons. I really like it. All right, so he's saying they're hostiles on the 3rd floor. I like that he has advice. I'm going to drop you off on 2. All right, so that's just great. And, so he's not just like taking, they're a partnership, and I think that's very important. If you read Batman Earth 1, they have a similar situation. If you read Batman Earth 1, do yourself a favor. There are 2 volumes. So good. All right, so anyway, I love him it's like a little bit, like I like how light the bat plane is. Like you'll see when he gets off of this, it like jumps up and down from his weight. And this Batman is substantial, and I really like that, okay? Finally, we've been talking about that he seems a little heavy in the girth, like he doesn't quite fit into his bat suit. But I'm starting to see how that actually is a plus. All right, so he jumps off. Woo! I love it. It looks like he's like, being thrown up in the air by like a blanket or something. It's hilarious. Now he jumps through. All right, and we're going to watch this in just a minute, but this is one of the best, coolest, most Batman-y things I've ever seen. All right, so look at this. They're all looking at the door. The floor falls out beneath them, and Batman pops up. Wow, he got me. I was looking to the door. I have to say, I've never seen Batman do that. I've never seen him do it in an animated show. I've never seen him do it in a movie. I've never seen him do it in a comic book. But I have seen him do that kind of misdirect. And to see, I hope he'll be a great detective as well. Because, we've been talking a lot about how in the movies, they never really give Batman his due as a great strategist, a great detective. He's really a thinking man's hero. That's why so many people like him. Thinking man's a vigilante. And so you can see that it's like, welcome to my chessboard, and a / operating table. I'm going to take you down. So then he's going to now commence to take on several thugs at one time. Also something you rarely see in the movies. And this, I don't know if this is Ben Affleck or a stunt double. I would imagine it's a combination of both because we've seen shots of them filming this and Ben Affleck is there. But it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. The Deadpool action sequences are also really spectacular, and they're getting so good at action. It's a joy to watch. A joy. All right. Look at that. Like that's just how big he is. I love that move right there. That's fantastic. Now this is great. Look at that. Love this. Shot by shot, he slams him into the crate using his surroundings. Very smart. So I love it. So many clever moves that you're just like, did he just do that? Did he? That's where the rewatchability factor comes in. I can just watch this action sequence on a loop. All right. Then here, a lot of people have talked about this right there. You see someone hits the back of the cowl with a knife. So he can turn his back on these people because he's armored up correctly. I love that there are sparks, right? That's so cool. He's like, Alfred, this does protect my neck, but can we make it spark? And Alfred's like, we sure can. Like, great idea. I love it. So he's taking everybody on at once. Oh, that's great. What was that? Was that like 2 punches in 2 separate directions? It was. Little Three Stoogie, but Batman makes it cool. And also, everyone loves the Three Stooges. All right, so that's wow. I love that he's throwing people around. So he's going to feel very different when he's on the receiving end of being tossed around like a rag doll when Superman shows up. And that's good to establish. Love it. That punch. Ben Affleck's buddy Matt Damon just delivered a similar knockout over in the Bourne trailer, and the sound effect. We don't do sound in these shot by shots, but just you can hear the punch, you can just feel it, and it's just great. It sells you on the fact that it would flip somebody down like that. It's just absolutely spectacular. All right, let's just pause for a moment because that was so great, right? I mean, it was so amazing. It was just It's what I've always wanted to see with Batman. It's everything I've imagined when reading the comics, right? I mean, and to finally see it brought to life on the big screen, it's just that's reason enough to say thank you to this creative team. And Zack Snyder, sure, but also I think Ben Affleck's really driving this a lot with Chris Terrio, and so I think that's another reason that Ben Affleck's going to become incredibly popular, in that he brought this level of quality to the movie. So he's like, I'm getting slow in my old age, Alfred. So this is a great exchange. Then Alfred's like, well, yes, you are too old to die young, not for lack of trying. Right there. It's so fantastic. Look at that. He's just like, oh, shut up, old man. It's just so funny. And, it is the real dynamic, right? I mean, you're talking about someone who's so upset and tortured and really just miserable his whole life ever since his parents were brutally murdered. And, I'm sure he's like, why do I keep you around again? I mean, it's just fantastic. It's kind of, it's like an odd couple dynamic. I've never seen it really with, in the comics and everything else. Bruce Wayne's always treated Alfred as like a father figure or just like the best butler ever. But to have this kind of like animosity between the two of them, I wish that Michael Keaton, when Alfred had said it's Vichy Soir and set him up to be embarrassed with the soup, I wish he'd looked at him like this, This might be my favorite Bruce Wayne moment, and for now, I'm sure there will be many to come, but I just think it's just spectacular. Thank you, Warner Brothers. Thank you, DC Comics. All right, now this obviously is, that's great, this looks a little CGI-y to me, I'm not too keen on that, but obviously this is Bruce Wayne witnessing the destruction of his city. This is the speech, this is the kind of stuff that worries me a little bit about the script, and they're like, oh, if there's only 1% chance, and you're like, well, and someone said that's like the Dick Cheney argument with weapons of mass destruction, and I don't think that Batman or Warner Brothers wants anything to do with Dick Cheney, right? I think that would be absolutely ridiculous, but I think that's the one that kind of dialogue makes me a little nervous about the script. You can maybe overstep or try too hard to sound intellectual, and there's nothing worse than trying to sound intellectual and falling short, right? That's just embarrassing. All right, so here we go. That's the Batmobile. There he goes. Now this is great. Now here's the thing. I want to just set you up for this. I didn't like this when I saw it in the TV spots, and they did not do themselves. They had a little bit of a misstep on this campaign with some TV spots and the last trailer, which I liked, but a lot of people had a problem with the Doomsday trailer. But they misedited these things. They took out. They really did the movie a disservice because it's so good here. Now look, see here. Now that just sells it. Batman is genuinely afraid of Superman. And he's maybe worried that he might die in this battle, and he's not quite sure how to take it on. I mean, it's amazing. It's the level of acting we're seeing from Robert Downey Jr. over in Civil War. That kind of humanity that they're bringing to their characters into these superhero fantasy situations. And that's what's going to ground it. That's what's going to sell it. And I think Henry Cavill has those moments, too, in this trailer, which we will discuss. But wow, really fantastic. The face acting from Ben Affleck is like top tier. All right. And also, I also want to say that this is a good argument for not having the eyes whited out, because you can get that kind of reaction. The eyes are the windows to the soul, et cetera, but you wouldn't be able to convey this if he had his eyes whited out. So I was in the whiteout camp, actually, but seeing this, I'd be like, you're right, Snyder and Affleck. Let's go for the regular eyes. Okay. Now this is the bouncing off of him. We've seen this stuff before. Okay. All right. Now that's great. Look at this. So we've seen that, but then here comes Superman, and he just pushes him right through that building up through the top. I'm really surprised. That is amazing armor. I'd be like, you've outdone yourself, Alfred, with the welder, because I was able to go through an entire building, and I'm fine. I mean, that's amazing. So that's just great. Let's watch it again, right through the building. Now, I like this. This is when, when Superman, Clark Kent is loosening his tie. Classic Clark Kent moment, right? He's like, I got to go take care of this. Then everyone's probably like, I don't think you should wear ties, Clark, because you're always adjusting them around the office and then running off to the bathroom. They're like, he's so weird. I don't want my cubicle next to Clark's. All right, so he's like, that's great. Now, this here, I think this is the car that he takes to the event. So Bruce Wayne, maybe he doesn't go out a lot, but he's decided maybe there's some reason he feels he needs to go out more, so he's getting ready to go. I imagine that's Bruce Wayne. They don't really show his head, but I don't think it could be anybody else. Now this really threw me. This was weird. Looks like we have some crazy love scene here. It's been discussed and I guess now confirmed that Lois and Clark are living together in this movie. I don't like Amy Adams as Lois Lane. I don't think she's Lois Lane. She's Lana Lang. It bothers me considerably. I don't think they have the right dynamic for Lois and Clark. Lois is supposed to kind of keep Clark in check and give him like reality checks all the time. And I feel this Lois, I just think it's obvious she just thinks he's really sexy, and she's like his baby, his sugar mama. That's the term. Oops, sorry. I don't talk about sugar mamas and sugar daddies a lot. But here, I just think this is like Lois sugar mama, because she's Amy Adams is older than Henry Cavill, and there's just something a little bit weird about their interactions. I'd be like, you're really embarrassing yourself, Lois. I mean, clearly you just want to get it on with him, because as you can see in this next shot, she's just feeling his chest, as I've talked about before. She's just like, let me just rest my hand right here. And I'd be like, show me on the doll where Lois touched you, Clark. It's just like, it's like a little too aggressive. So anyway, now that's great. All right, so this is a juxtaposition, right? So here he is throwing his batarang at a bad guy. Junk works. But here when he throws it, shoots something at Clark, Clark catches it. Superman catches it. That's very, very cool. I saw somebody say in the comments that really helps sell them on this movie, that kind of detail. Also, you have to give a kudos to the actors shooting this, Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill, to pull off that sequence convincingly. It looks very, very cool. Now here we have some montage shots. Now that's the Henry Cavill face acting moment. I love when he's just like, oh, okay. Or, you think you got me? Oh, that was just round 1 or round 0.5 even. So I think that's great. It's almost like the level of cracking your neck, in a fight sequence, just to be like, it's just like it's a boss move. So I love it. Now that's cool too. That's great as well. I have to say, nobody has made better use of Superman's cape than Zack Snyder. He really does a good job with the wind and the smoke and the light up eyes. I mean, he makes his Superman seem, I think there's a good reason that Ben Affleck's Batman is frightened, but that's very cool as well. I like the firing, and then I would imagine when that bullet falls, I don't know if that might be like the killing sequence of the Waynes, maybe. That's just kind of what that seems like to me. Now here, a couple of kicks between the two of them, throwing Batman into the wall. Now this is very good. All right, so Wonder Woman, she speaks. So this we've seen, this was an Entertainment Weekly photo, which was much brighter. This is a very dark movie, by the way. I was trying to find still frames to put on the thumbnail, and I was like, everything's so dark, I have to run it through a filter to light it up. So he's saying, I've known women like you before. I'll say Catwoman, basically anybody, a lot of vigilantes female vigilantes he's run into. But I like Wonder Woman's comment here, and she says, I can assure you, you've never known a woman like me. And she has a very slight accent, which I love. I love it, I love it, I love it. I think Gal Gadot is going to do a fantastic job here. I don't know how she's going to do in her own movie, but Zack Snyder is doing a very nice job with her, which is good, because I was disappointed in Malin Ackerman for Silk Spectre. Not that Malin Ackerman, she looked good in the role, obviously, and she tried her hardest, but I just don't think that she was up to the task. But I think that Gal Gadot is, and so I'm very, very excited. And I like his smile. I'm like, yeah. So, while Clark and Lois are having like a lame frolic in the bathtub, this is where the real fireworks are. So I love this. This is the couple I like. So I'm curious, which couple are you more into? If some of you like Lois and Clark, no judgment. All right, so let's see here. There she is. She's like, never known a woman like me before. And it's like, she looks fantastic. She looks so cool. But it gets, wow, look at that. That's, by the way, first of all, classic Zack Snyder, right? I mean, he's just like, get me shot like 23B that I use in all my movies, right? I mean, like, we've seen it before. But I mean, talk about someone benefiting from all the 300 movies that he's made. I mean, he's made one, he's produced a sequel. But I mean, that really benefits Wonder Woman. She should be in a 300 movie. I wish her solo movie was like a 300 movie. We'll see what she actually ends up with. But here, she, no one can say she's not been launched amazingly. Literally launched amazingly. I'm a little upset that she doesn't fly. I'm actually very upset that she doesn't fly. She's been depowered. Some of you pointed out to me that Gal Gadot confirmed that she just basically leaps. Wonder Woman should fly. I think it's a very important part of her character. I'm a little annoyed about it. I don't want to go on too long, but I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed. It's always, and someone says, she can't be as powerful as Superman. But I just like to say, it's almost always the female characters that are depowered. And I can't say anything more about that because I don't want to give spoilers for a certain movie that comes out this weekend. But as a female viewer, it annoys the crap out of me. All right. Now there's Lois underwater somewhere, but this is the coolest thing. This is, at first I was like, what's happening here? I wasn't sure. I was like, he doesn't seem to have a shield, so nobody could be firing at him, but this is what's happening. I had to think about it, right? So he is perched on a beam, which we've seen countless times in the comics, the animated series, the video games, etc. So it's so cool to see it in a movie. But he's perched on this beam, and he's hiding from them while they shoot into the hole because they don't realize that he's up there. So he's just taking his time, letting them use some ammunition up so he doesn't have to deal with it. Maybe they use all their ammunition, and that's why when he jumps down, this is shown out of order, he can do hand-to-hand combat. So fantastic, so clever. I love it. I just love it so much. Now, like that punch was just so good. Like, wow, ow, great. Okay. Then some more that action from the Battle for Metropolis, the Batwing firing. That's great. I like that it pushes him back a little bit. He looks like he's in a hailstorm of bullets. That's great. I know you can see. I wonder where Ma Kent is. She looks like she's outside because she has a handbag. So I don't think she's maybe at a coffee shop. So I wonder what's happening to her. I love that. That too was great. That he just pushes him, just like bink. That's great. Wow, I love it. I don't know how he can survive that, but you know. Now this amazed everybody, including Superman. How can he block the punch? Thinking about it. There's no way that his armor is strong enough to deflect that punch. It just can't be possible. Superman can't move a planet. So my feeling is that there's kryptonite at play. And so Batman was just biding his time until it weakened Clark Kent. Maybe it doesn't make Superman feel sick, but just slowly drains his power so he gets more on a human level. That would be my guess, that this is when it kicks in. And, and Batman's just kind of like, oh, I gotcha, sucker. Oh, wow, that's so good. That's a nice little touch. They show the Superman logo first, and then they widen out to the Batman, which is enveloping it in awesomeness. Oh, that's great. Coming soon, see it in 3D. I will! Thank you very much. Oh, that's amazing. That's just such a great trailer. It's perfect. If the movie is just anywhere near as good as that, even if I just see extended sequences of that, I'm going to just be so thrilled. So I'm curious, what do you think of the trailer? What are your favorite parts? And also, what do you think of this in comparison to what Marvel's offering? Do you think that they're different enough, like I do? I think they are. And also, what do you think about Marvel? Do you think they need to adjust at all for this? Or do you think they're fine where they are? We're just going to have two very different comic cinematic universes. Write your thoughts down below, and you can check out some other episodes right now.